Easter Stories with Jolly. Jesus arrives in Jerusalem. One day, Jesus and his disciples were on their way to Jerusalem. Lots of people were going to Jerusalem because it was time for the Passover feast. This was a special meal to remember how God had protected the Israelite children. People came from all around for this special celebration. Jerusalem was full of people. When Jesus and his disciples were getting close to Jerusalem, Jesus told 2 of his disciples to run ahead of them into the city. There they would find a young donkey tied to a tree. Jesus told them to get the donkey and bring it back to him. He said, "If anyone asks you why you're taking the donkey, tell them Jesus needs it and then it will be returned." His disciples ran ahead, and just inside the city, just as Jesus had said, there was a young donkey tied to a tree. They untied it, and someone stopped them to see what they were doing. The disciples answered that Jesus needed the donkey and it would be returned to them. The people in Jerusalem had heard of Jesus, and they were willing to let him borrow the donkey. So the disciples led the donkey back to where Jesus and the other disciples were walking. The disciples put clothes on the donkey's back, and then Jesus climbed on top of the donkey and rode it into the town of Jerusalem. When other people saw Jesus coming, they started laying clothes and branches from palm trees on the ground in front of the donkey. They were making a special path for Jesus. The people knew that Jesus was special. They had heard about his teachings and about the miracles he had done. They knew he must be the Son of God. They started saying, "Hosanna! Blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord." Many people cheered and worshiped Jesus as he was entering Jerusalem, but not everyone was excited to see Jesus coming to town. There were also people who didn't believe that Jesus was the Son of God. It made these people very angry to hear other people praising Jesus. These people were the high priest and elders. They worked in the church. They studied the scriptures and told everyone how to follow the rules and live the way God wanted them to live. They were supposed to be the good guys, but they were very jealous of Jesus. They were jealous that people loved Jesus. They didn't think Jesus was the one the scriptures were saying would come to rescue the people. They thought he was lying and trying to trick people, and this made them very angry. So they decided that day they would have Jesus killed. He was messing up their plans, and they were going to come up with a sneaky plan to arrest him and have him killed. They decided to wait until after the Passover celebration. They thought there were too many people visiting Jerusalem who might try to help Jesus. They weren't exactly sure what they were going to do, but they were afraid if they didn't do something soon, people would listen to Jesus more than they listened to them. Their minds were made up that it was time for them to put an end to Jesus' ministry. Jesus knew bad things were about to start happening to him. He had warned the disciples many times that his time on earth was about to be over, but they didn't understand what he was talking about. All the disciples could see was how much people loved Jesus. They didn't understand what was about to happen. But even when Jesus was riding on the donkey's back, listening to people shout, "Hosanna!" he knew exactly what the Pharisees were planning to do. Okay, it's time for our first letter of the day. The first letter is the letter D. The letter D makes the d sound, as in donkey. We talked about a donkey in our story today. We have the capital letter D, and we have the lowercase letter d. They look very different, but we're going to practice writing them today. Okay, to start, we're going to start in the sky, and we're going to go all the way down to the ground. Then we're going to go back up to the sky, and we're going to make a big hump. And close it at the ground. Next, we're going to make a circle under the fence. It's going to touch the fence, come down, and touch the ground and come back up. Then we're going to make a stick starting in the sky, going all the way down to the ground and touching the side of our circle. And that is how you make the letter D. Okay, now we're going to practice up here where we don't have our fence picture. We'll have to pretend that. We'll have to imagine that. Okay, we're going to start in the sky and go down to the ground. back to the sky, and make a big hump. Okay, let's do one more. Start at the sky and go down to the ground. Go back to the sky and make a big hump. And those are our capital D's. Now let's make some lowercase d's. Okay, remember we're going to start under the fence. We're going to make a circle that touches the fence and touches the ground and comes up to close our circle. And then we're going to go to the sky and come all the way down to the ground. One more. We're going to make a circle under the fence. And then we're going to go all the way to the sky and come down to the ground. Good job. Okay, our extra practice word of the day is going to be donkey. So donkey is going to start with a lowercase d. So we're going to make a circle under the fence and then go to the sky and come down to the ground. The next letter is going to be the letter O, and that is a circle under the fence. Next we have an N. An N is going to start at the fence and go down to the ground. And then we're going to go almost back to the fence and we're going to do a hump. Touch the fence and come down to the ground. Just one hump. And next we have the lowercase letter K. We're going to start in the sky and go all the way down to the ground. Then we're going to come up to the fence and we're going to go in, out. That's how you make a lowercase letter K. Our next letter in donkey is the lowercase letter E. To make a lowercase e, we're going to go between the ground and the fence, and we're going to make a line across. And then we're going to circle back around, touch the fence, come down to the ground, and come up just a little bit. The last letter in the word donkey is the lowercase letter y. So we're going to start at the fence, and we're going to come down with a slant to the fence. Then we're going to go back up to the fence, and we're going to come down with a slant the other way, and keep going. And that's how you make a letter Y. And that is how we spell donkey. Good job, guys. Okay, guys, it's time for our activity number 1. I'm going to read the directions. Jesus rode into Jerusalem riding a donkey. This was very important because it was another clue to the people that he was the Messiah. People ride many different things for many different reasons. Look at the pictures below. See if you can match the person to the thing they should be riding. Okay, so we're going to match up our people on the top to the things that they ride on the bottom. So let's look and see our pictures. See what we have first of all. First we have a farmer and we have a policeman. This is a different kind of policeman. It has a different kind of hat. We'll have to think about that one pretty hard. We have a cowboy and we have a little girl. Okay, and on the bottom we have a bicycle, we have a tractor, we have a motorcycle, and we have a horse. So now we have to match our people to what they should be riding. Okay, first let's look at our farmer. What would a farmer ride on? Would a farmer ride on a bicycle? Maybe. Would a farmer ride on a tractor? Yes, a farmer would ride on a tractor. So we're going to draw a line from the farmer to the tractor. Next, we have our police officer. Let's look carefully at his hat. This is not the regular hat that a policeman would wear. This is a special kind of helmet. So if a policeman is wearing a helmet like this, what are they riding? They're probably not riding in their car. They're probably riding on something. Let's see what they might be riding. Would they ride a bicycle? Would they ride a motorcycle? They would be riding a motorcycle. Sometimes policemen, especially in big cities, they might be riding motorcycles. Okay, next we have a cowboy. What would a cowboy be riding on? Would a cowboy be riding on a bike? Or would a cowboy be riding on a horse? A horse! A cowboy would be riding on a horse. So the last one we have is our little girl. What would our little girl ride on? She would ride a bike. So we're going to draw a line from our little girl all the way over here to the bike, and we've matched up all of our people to all of their rides. Good job, guys. Okay, guys, it's time for our second letter of the day. The second letter is the letter H. H makes the sound H, 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 like in Hosanna. So now we're going to practice making our letter H. We have our capital H and our lowercase h. They do not look the same, but both of them go to the sky. They are both very tall letters. Now let's come down to our fence picture and let's practice this one. We're going to start in the sky and go down to the ground. Then we're going to go back to the sky and go down to the ground. And then we're going to go to the fence and we're going to go across on the fence. Okay, and that is how you make your capital letter H. Now let's make a lowercase one. We're going to go to the sky and go all the way down to the ground. But this time we're going to go almost to the fence, just a little bit under the fence, and we're going to make a hump. The hump's going to go up and touch the fence and then come back down to the ground. And that's how you make a lowercase letter H. Okay, now let's do some practice over here where we don't have our fence picture. Okay, we're going to start on the top and we're going to make some capital H's. Start at the sky and go down to the ground. Back to the sky and go down to the ground. And then we're going to go across on the fence. There's your capital H. Let's make another one. Go to the sky and go down to the ground. Back to the sky and go down to the ground. And then we're going to cross on the fence. There we go, 2 capital H's. Now let's work on some lowercase h's. We're going to start in the sky and go down to the ground. But remember, this time we're going to just go almost under the fence and we're going to make a hump. So we're going to start right about here and we're going to go hump. We're going to do up to the fence and come down to the ground for our hump. Okay, and then we're going to try one more. Let's go to the sky and come down to the ground. We're going to go back almost to the fence. And then we're going to make a hump, touch the fence, down to the ground. Good job. Okay, our extra practice word for today is going to be Hosanna. We learned about the people said Hosanna in our story when Jesus was coming down the road on the donkey. Okay, to write Hosanna, we're going to start with a capital H. So we're going to start at the sky and go down to the ground, back to the sky, down to the ground, and cross at the fence. Next, we're going to make a little letter O. It's a circle that stays under the fence. Our next letter is the little letter S. It's a tricky one. We're going to start a little bit below the fence and we're going to curve up to the fence, curve around like a snake, touch the ground and come up just a little bit. S's are very tricky. Okay, our next letter is the little letter A. We're going to make a circle under the fence and then a line from the fence to the ground. Next, we have the little letter N. We're going to start at the fence, down to the ground, go almost back to the fence and make a hump. Now we're going to do another N, just like we did this one. So start at the fence, down to the ground, almost back to the fence and hump to the ground. The last letter in the word Hosanna is another little letter A. So we're going to make a circle under the fence and then a stick from the fence to the ground. And that's how you write the word Hosanna. Good job. Okay, now we have our math activity. Let me read the directions. Jesus had 12 disciples. 12 is a good number for making teams because you can make a team with 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, or 6 people, and the teams will all be even. Sometimes Jesus asked his disciples to do stuff in teams or groups. Look at the pictures below and see if you can figure out how many people would be in each group. Okay, so in each one of these rows, we have 12 people. We have the 12 disciples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, in these boxes, we're going to put these people onto 2 different teams. We have to figure out how many people would be on each team if we had 2 teams. So what we're going to do, we're going to make tally marks. We're going to count to 12 because we have 12 people, but we're going to count using our tally marks. And we're going to do 1 on this side, and then 1 on this side, and then 1 on this side, and then 1 on this side until we get all the way to the 12. Okay, here we go. We're going to count to 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and that's all the way to 12. Now we have to figure out how many people are on each team. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This would be 6 people on each team. If 12 people were going to be divided into 2 teams. Okay, now we're going to go down here and we're going to see how many would be on each team if there were 3 teams. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to count to 12, but this time we're going to go into 3 different boxes. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We got all the way to 12 and all the boxes are the same. Let's see how many people would be on each team if we divided into 3 teams. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3 teams would have 4 people on them. Okay, now we're going to come down here to another set of 12 people, but this time we're going to do 4 teams. 1, 2, 3, 4. But we're still going to do our tally marks until we get to 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we got all the way to 12. How many people would be on a team if we had 4 teams? 1, 2, 3. There would be 3 people on each team. Okay, now let's move down here to our memory verse. This is what the real Bible says. If you were to look up this story in your real Bible, these are the words you will find. Our verse says, Hosanna, blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord. Mark 11:9. Okay, we're going to look for the letter H. H for Hosanna. H is one of our letters of the day. So we can find a capital H or a lowercase h. Let's start over here. Hosanna. Oh, we have already found one. The very first letter in our verse is the capital letter H. Hosanna. Blessed is he. Oh, I see another H. Do you see a H in this word? It's a lowercase h. Let's circle this one. There we go. Hosanna. Blessed is he that... Oh, I see another H in this word. Can you find it? It's the second letter. It's a lowercase h. Hosanna. Blessed is he that cometh. Oh, cometh is one of those words that's probably only in the Bible. That's probably the only place that we'll see a word like cometh. But it has a H in it. Can you find the H in this word? It's right here, over by the magnifying glass. You have to look very hard to find that one. Hosanna. Blessed is he that cometh in the... Oh, I see another one. Do you see it? Right here. Here we go. Hosanna. Blessed is he that cometh in the name of the... One more. There's another H in this word. Right here. Hosanna. Blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord. Mark 11:9. Good job, guys. We found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 H's. Okay, guys, our last letter of the day is the letter J. J makes the sound J, J, J. We can do J for Jesus, or we can do J for Jerusalem. We had 2 J words in our story today. This is the capital letter J, and this is the lowercase letter J. They look a whole lot alike. The only difference is this one starts in the sky, and this one starts at the fence, and it has a dot right there. One of them is going to stay within the lines, and one of them is going to drop down under the lines. So, okay, let's get ready to practice. We're going to start with our capital letter J. We're going to start in the sky and go down to the ground and start to curve and touch the ground and come up just a little bit, about halfway. Now that's your capital letter J. Now we're going to make a lowercase letter J. Remember, the lowercase letter J starts at the fence and goes down under the ground to the roots and then curves. And then to finish your lowercase letter J, you're going to do the dot right there in the clouds. Okay, now let's come up here where we don't have our fence. We'll have to imagine that. We're going to start in the sky and go down and start to curve before you get to the ground, and then come up just a little bit. There's our capital J. Let's make one more. Start at the fence, down to the ground, start to curve, and then curve back up, and there's another J. Okay, let's work on our lowercase j's. Remember, they're gonna start at the fence. We're gonna start right here, and we're gonna go down. We're gonna go under the ground, like the roots, and then curve up, and then we're gonna do the dot. Let's make one more. Start at the fence and go down to the ground, under the ground, curve, come up, and a dot. And there's your lowercase letter J. Our extra practice word today is going to be Jerusalem. It's a big word. And because Jerusalem is the name of a city, we're going to use a capital letter. So we have to start at the sky with our capital J, come down to the ground and curve, come up just a little bit. Okay, the next letter is the letter E. To make a lowercase letter E, we're going to start like in the flowers, like over here between the fence and the ground. And we're going to go over, and then we're going to curve around, touch the fence, come down, touch the ground, and come up just a little bit. The next letter is the letter R. The little letter R starts at the fence and goes down to the ground, and then it comes almost back to the fence and makes a hump. But just a little hump. It doesn't go, it just comes down just a little bit. The next letter is the little letter U. To make a little letter U, we're going to start at the fence and go down, and we're going to curve the other way. We curve one way with our J, and we curve another way with our U. And we're going to come back up to the fence, and then we're going to make a straight line down. The next letter in the word Jerusalem is a little letter S. It is a very tricky one. We're going to come up to the fence, and we're going to come down just a little bit. And then we're going to go back up and touch the fence, curl around like a snake, touch the ground, and then come up. The next letter is the letter A. We're going to do a little letter A. That is a circle under the fence, and then a stick from the fence to the ground. The next letter is the letter L. A little letter L is going to start in the sky and go all the way down to the ground. The next letter is a little letter E. We're going to do another one of these. We're going to start in between the ground and the fence and make a line, and then curve up to the fence, down to the ground, and up just a little. And our last letter in the word Jerusalem is a little letter M. So we're going to go back up here to our fence and make a line straight to the ground, and then we're going to come back up here and we're going to make a hump. It's going to go all the way to the fence and all the way down. And then for the letter M, we need another hump. So we're going to come back up here and do another hump. And that is how you spell the word Jerusalem. That's a very big word. Good job, guys. Okay, guys, it's time for our big word of the day. Our big word of the day is Passover feast. Jesus and his disciples were in Jerusalem for the Passover feast. That was a special celebration to remember what God had done for the Israelites. Now it's time for our Guess Who game. Let me read the clues and see if you can guess who I'm talking about. Clue number 1. I was in Jerusalem for the Passover feast. I was riding on a donkey. People were yelling Hosanna to me. Other people were trying to figure out a way to kill me. Who am I? If you said Jesus, you are right. You must have been being a great listener. Good job. Now let's move on over here to our drawing activity. Let me read the directions. Jesus rode into town on a donkey. In the space below, draw a donkey. Oh, mercy. These are not easy to draw. Let's see. First of all, let's draw a donkey's head. We'll go down, give it a little nose right there, and come up. Now we're going to do an ear over here, and we'll do an ear over here. How about that? Does that look like a donkey's face? We'll give him some eyes. Bloop, bloop. And a nostril, and he'll probably have another nostril over there. Okay, now we're going to draw the donkey's back. So it'll come down like this. Oh, mercy. And then come down. Woo, this is a very tall looking donkey. I don't think I'm very good at this. Okay, now let's come down a little bit like this. And we'll make this part go to his belly. We'll make a leg here. Boop. And we'll make another leg come down here. Boop. And then we'll make his belly right here. And then like this to fix the rest of his leg. And he needs one more leg in the back there. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, and a tail. And donkeys kind of have a tail that do like that. Oh, goodness. My donkey kind of looks like a giraffe. Let's give him some hair up here. I don't know if that helped or not. What do you think? Does that look like a donkey? I think my donkey has a very long neck. Oh, that's too silly. Okay, guys, that's the end of our lesson. Jesus arrives in Jerusalem. We talked about a lot of things today. We talked about how Jesus told the disciples to go find the donkey. We talked about how people shouted Hosanna. We talked about how some people weren't happy to see Jesus. We talked about the letters D and H and J. We talked about dividing the disciples. We talked about things to ride. And we even drew a donkey. Donkeys might not seem very important in the Easter story, but this was just one more clue to the people that Jesus was the Messiah. So that makes this donkey a very important donkey. You just never know what God's going to use for His plans. I like this lesson. Until next time, Jolly loves you.